I've always believed real estate has the power to transform your life, but only if you have the right tools, support, and education to succeed long term. And that's why today we're making a major shift. Our podcast and community have always been about empowering you as a self-managing landlord. But after attending events like my recent trip to LA, where I networked and met business leaders from more than 78 countries, I've realized it's time to evolve. Most real estate communities stop helping you once you close on your first property. And let's be honest, a lot of coaching programs focus on things like how to find more deals and other things related to the beginning of an investor's journey. One thing our community has that is different than every other coach and real estate platform out there is that we own a very large property management company and have done so for the past 25 years. We're still in the trenches every single day, coming up with ways to adapt to inflation, vacancy rates, a tenant's inability to pay their rent. We have hundreds of property management clients and know how they think. We have investors that only own one house, all the way up to a large real estate investment trust that has purchased 60 condos for us to manage in a single year. We're involved in large multifamily syndications in Florida, and that is why we're pivoting. The Landlord Pal podcast is now officially becoming the My First Keys podcast. My First Keys, matching our community, because we guide you through every step, not just the purchase, but from buying your first property to then scaling your portfolio and also how to manage it successfully long term. Most investors hit roadblocks after their first deal. They get the property, but aren't sure how to maximize its potential, handle tenants, or even measure their success. With My First Keys, we're making sure you don't just stop after that first win. Whether you're a brand new investor or have a few doors under your belt, you'll get clear strategies, expert guidance, and real community support to build generational wealth. Growing up, my parents owned a Chinese restaurant here in Winnipeg. One day, I overheard them having a really tough conversation. The landlord, so we had rented, the restaurant was renting from a commercial building. The landlord had raised the rent yet again, and this time it was steep. And they didn't know how they keep the doors open. And then something unexpected happened. My dad bought the building that the restaurant was in. I was floored. I couldn't believe it. Like, we didn't have that kind of money. But it turns out he had quietly invested in 2 rundown duplexes for over 10 years, C-class properties that most people wouldn't have even touched. And when the time came, he sold those duplexes and used the profits to buy the restaurant's building, thereby securing our family's financial future. That moment changed me forever. I realized real estate wasn't just about profit. It was about control, security, and freedom. A few months later, after a little bit of research, I bought my first duplex and I was so hooked. I left my Ph.D. program even though I was only 6 months away from graduating. I scaled my portfolio to 43 properties, 75 doors, while I still worked a full-time job, and I've been in real estate ever since. So why are we changing the podcast name? The Landlord Pal podcast is also going to be called My First Keys. Now, this rebrand isn't just about taking a new name. It reflects my bigger purpose. It reflects my personal mission. Those close to me know I had 2 very serious life scares 2 years ago that were only 5 months apart, and it caused me to reevaluate everything. So My First Keys is really my life's work, to show people how easy it is to purchase their first rental property and then how they can scale their portfolios to massive proportions and give them and their families financial freedom. Our previous community was focused solely on property management and how we can support a self-managing landlord. But we're all about helping you become confident investors from day one, not just after you've already assumed that you have a property. So the My First Keys podcast is going to focus on the complete investor journey, from buying your first property to managing it like a pro, and then scaling into a full portfolio. So what can you expect from the podcast going forward? We're going to break things down into 2 layers of content. Layer number 1 is foundational real estate education for beginners or experienced investors. Now, these episodes will cover the core concepts you need to start your journey, but confidently, like why invest in a rental property? What is equity? What is cash flow? What is appreciation? Understanding leverage and other people's money, or OPM. And then we go into layer number 2, okay? Foundation pillar number 2, advanced investor strategies, okay? So this is scaling. So once you've grasped, the basics, we're gonna dive deeper into strategies for growth, such as what is a cap rate and how do you use it? Do commercial properties make good investments? How to build real estate power teams, how to find a good accountant, a lawyer, not just a regular lawyer, but a real estate lawyer, how to find a good realtor. If you wanted to use a property manager, what you should be looking for in a property manager, what questions should you be asking them? So I want to spend a couple minutes talking about why our community is different. First, lifetime support. Now, most real estate groups focus only on acquisition, but we help you with long-term success. Our community supports you from your first deal all the way through to how to manage the asset. Now, this knowledge is built on my 27 years experience because I've personally been owning real estate and have managed thousands of properties for over 27 years. I've seen it all, and we design our content with our property management companies, SOPs, training manuals, things like that, plus everything that I've done with all the hundreds of deals that I've sat on either side of the table, actually. And we want to prepare you for every stage of your journey. There's no gimmicks here. It's just real help. There's no upsells, just actionable strategies that you can apply immediately. If you want hands-on resources, live Q&A Zoom meetings with a community that spans around the globe, we offer that in our private community. No hype, just results. So just to summarize, we've officially rebranded both our podcast and our community to My First Keys. Our goal is to help you grow from buying your first property all the way to building generational wealth. You can expect a blend of beginner content and advanced strategies that guide you step by step. So if you've been getting value from this podcast and want to be a part of the community that actually helps you long after your first property, I'd love for you to check out the My First Keys community. Now, it's an online community and we're offering a free 6-week trial, no credit card required. It's your chance to test drive the community, connect with other investors, and access our full library of educational content. Click the link in the show notes below and join us today.